Hi, my name is Gibson, and I'm the creator of the Personal Development School. This is your daily breakthrough video, and in this video, I want to talk to you a little bit about why fearful avoidants are often attracted to wounded people in relationships. I want to ask you to think for a moment and just notice, have you ever found yourself in a position where you are constantly sort of drawn to people who are wounded or in pain? And do you find yourself sometimes feeling like you should fix or save those people? Do you feel sometimes emotionally attracted to friendships where you have to put in a lot of like fixing or supporting or healing other people in some way? Or perhaps you have a history of romantic partnerships that are one-sided. Maybe you find yourself in a position where you're constantly giving and pouring in to supporting somebody else, but you don't feel like some of these things are reciprocated. If any of those things ring true for you in some form, chances are you have what I like to call wounded bird syndrome. And I didn't make that up myself, the wounded bird syndrome. I actually heard about this a very, very long time ago from a friend of mine who was like telling me, 12 or so years ago, you have wounded bird syndrome, because it was a pattern that I personally carried for quite some time. And what I found when I explored this a little bit more, and of course, over the years of doing so much research and seeing so many clients and having so many case studies in front of me, is that part of why fearful avoidance specifically are drawn to wounded individuals is because usually this is somewhat of how they learn to relate to people in their childhood, and there's subconscious associations for what love is. Now, there's actually quite a bit more to it, but I'm going to break down some of the different dynamics for why this may be happening to you. And what I would love for you to do, if you feel inclined, is to really sit with some of these things and be like, oh, which one is me and why? And then you can actually do some steps to recondition this stuff. So part one, and we'll go through a few different parts of wounded bird syndrome, or why you're attracted to wounded people, is that you have a subconscious comfort zone of being around people in pain. Okay, so try to think back to your own childhood, your own learning about attachment and what attachment really meant to you. And do you see a lot of themes in attachment for you in your upbringing, or even in like your most recent history of relationships? Do you see a lot of what attachment was there was a lot of pain around, and you got your needs met for attention, for love, for maybe sometimes presence from your caregiver, connection in some form, when that caregiver was expressing pain to you, or when you were caretaking for that pain from your caregivers. So this could be anything from seeing a parent go through depression, anxiety, and sort of being there for them during times like that, soothing your parents' emotions, being caught in the middle of different arguments or fights where they're both venting to you at different times. This could be that a parent is struggling with some kind of substance use or addiction, and you're there to sort of caretake for them in that form when they're under the influence and can't really operate things properly. Or perhaps this could even be that there was a lot of pressure going on in your family and a lot of things taking place externally in the family dynamic. And so you were taught that you got rewarded when you were supposed to caretake of your younger siblings. So all of these things will be programming in a subconscious comfort zone, which, remember, your subconscious wants to maintain its comfort zone because it associates it with survival and familiarity and safety. So, and this is why we're all adverse to change on some level, right? Sometimes people have a high need for novelty. When they choose their change, they like it. But when we have change we didn't choose, we all tend to resist it. That's because of the subconscious mind. So try to think of, like, are these some of your subconscious programs about what love is? And if that's your comfort zone, you're going to keep going back out into the world, being drawn into the familiarity of that in your adult life. Second reason this can take place is sometimes you're also drawn to try to fix in others what you haven't healed within yourself. So it can be quite common in certain dynamics and situations that you may find yourself sort of finding this connection to over sympathizing with things in people that reflect your own patterns, but maybe existing in a different form. So what do I actually mean by that? Let's say, for example, you find yourself in a situation where you see somebody who, feels unloved in their life. And maybe you feel unloved in your life or have experienced feeling unloved in your life. Even if that wasn't like the truth, maybe you felt that way in some kind of form as a child when some kind of need wasn't met or was missing. And let's say you've got a wound there as well. So when you see somebody else feeling that way, when we have learned helplessness in the relationship to ourselves to fix that, when we don't know where to start or how to handle those feelings within ourselves, sometimes we're drawn to try to fix them in other people because it may create relief in some form. When that is also coupled with codependency and enmeshment, so when you also feel other people's feelings and you're so focused on other people's feelings, we'll also try to fix other people's feelings as a subconscious strategy to fix how we feel about other people feeling that way. So if you see somebody unloved and you're like, oh my gosh, they're in pain, and you feel this guilt and sadness for them, you may try to fix them as a strategy to fix the feelings of guilt and sadness within yourself. It's like in this very indirect form. So you'll see some of these different ways that these patterns can play out. And one of the other reasons that we may have wounded bird syndrome is because we are boundaryless. We may find ourselves in a situation where we just feel everybody's feelings from this enmeshed point of view, and we are out of relationship to feeling our own feelings in real time. So other people's feelings may feel more urgent or important to us than something within ourselves that we're not really attuned to. So you'll see all these different dynamics can really play into this wounded bird syndrome. And also you may be trying to heal something from your childhood that you didn't get the chance to, sort of along the lines of something called trauma reenactment, which there's a lot of research about. So sometimes we try to replay out these circumstances, not just from a subconscious comfort zone perspective, but also because we're trying to kind of solve for something or heal something that we didn't get an opportunity to at a different time in our lives. So with all of this being said, if you experience some of these patterns, wherever you resonated most with, from what I listed out, this is a call for you to do some healing work around it. If you want a really good place to start, 2 courses I highly recommend from what I shared in these key points, and you can check them out literally for free for 7 days. And it's enough time, like 7 days will be enough time. Each course is like 2 hours in length, hour and a half sometimes, give or take, like somewhere around that. So depending on how much time you have in 7 days, you actually get access using the link below to all of our courses. So you can check all sorts of courses out in there, see what's going on. But essentially what you'll see is that the codependency course is fantastic for helping you get out of those enmeshed patterns of feeling other people's feelings before your own. And the boundaries course is extremely important for you being able to set healthy boundaries in your life so that you can take yourself into consideration as well. And the goal is not to stop caring about other people and not to stop wanting to be there and support other people. That's a beautiful thing. And I think in many ways is a beautiful gift that people can bring into the world. But the goal is to be able to consider yourself before acting on those things. So if we get into a situation where we just see people in pain, we just totally ignore whatever needs we might have or what boundaries we might have to try to fix that in somebody else, we burn out, we get resentful, we feel frustrated, we feel unseen, we feel like relationships are not reciprocal. And it's actually painful. It's like my people pleasing to you or my attraction to your woundedness may actually be reinforcing the woundedness in me. Because then I'm left feeling again unloved or unseen or like I don't matter and only other people do, right? And if you have these patterns in your life, you're going to see some resonance with probably some of these things. But if you are able to learn to consider yourself in real time and be like, I want to be there for that person, but I also have to make sure I'm looking out for myself. I have my own back. I set boundaries in a healthy way. So I'm giving what I can give that's not weighing me down. Like I'm not giving, for example, as an analogy, if I have $50 in my bank account, I'm not giving 49 to this person. If I have $50 in my bank account, I'm like, hey, I can give you $2 right now. And that's not going to take me down, right? So you're giving in a way that allows you to consider yourself and where you're at and what's possible for you to give without having some kind of detriment to your own life. And that's what healthy boundaries are here to really teach us. That's what breaking out of codependency and enmeshment is supposed to look like on the other side. So then what you'll also do sort of in tandem with that as a byproduct is you'll be reconditioning your subconscious comfort zone to consider yourself, and you'll be less likely to keep attracting woundedness in your life because you're healing those wounds within yourself of constantly dismissing your needs, leaving yourself abandoned, leaving your boundaries violated and betrayed. And so we won't be constantly attracted to situations that reinforce that to us because it's no longer part of our subconscious comfort zone. So anyways, I mean, there's so much more I could unpack about this whole topic. And obviously this is also a topic for anxious, preoccupied individuals to look into as well. And even like enmeshed GAs can sometimes struggle with this, but I thought it was a really important topic to cover. Let me know if you have questions. Let me know what patterns you resonated with. I would love to hear. And thank you for watching today. Please like, share, and subscribe if you're getting value from this channel. And I will see you in the next video.